Hello, everybody. It is Reid Mihalko from readaboutsex.com for whattheyarasking.com. And today's question is my partner enjoys blowjobs but does not come. Is this bad? How can I improve? Excellent question. It's not bad. There are lots of times and situations where people with penises will not come or orgasm or ejaculate from oral sex, and it's not like you're doing a bad job. There are lots of things that can come into the situation. Maybe the person who's receiving the blowjob is just really trapped in their head. Maybe they're on some sort of medication where orgasm is very hard to achieve. Maybe their particular way of pleasuring themselves with masturbation, they've kind of anchored that particular way of touching themselves, that particular kind of sensation with orgasming. And no matter what you do, your mouth is not going to create that same sensation that they've been doing since they were 10, 11, 14, 28, whatever that is. So first thing is take a deep breath and go, "Ah." There's nothing wrong that you're doing. One, sex doesn't have to be all about the orgasm. It's a nice addition. So cut yourself some slack as the person who's doing the fellatio. The more that you're enjoying it often, if that's something that you truly enjoy or just like doing for somebody else, the more that you're in your body, the more that you're having fun, you're basically telling the other person, the person who's receiving, that it's okay. Like, I'm down here, I'm here for a reason, and that reason I choose to willfully be down here. So that I'm not worrying that you're doing something that you don't like, which can get me in my head. If I'm a nice, caring individual and I'm like, I don't want to force you to do something that you're not into, if I think that you're doing something that you're not into, all of a sudden I may be worrying. It's harder for me to receive. So if you're down there having fun, it's easier for me to receive, easier for me to get into my body, which stacks the deck in my favor towards orgasm. The next thing that you can do is role model for your partner that it's okay, breathe. Tell them to take a breath. Let out some sound. Which again will get them to relax, get them into their body where they're feeling sensation, where they're, getting more into what's actually happening. From a geek perspective, what they're doing is they're starting to access, shifting into their parasympathetic nervous system, which is where you kind of need to be able to achieve orgasm, regardless of your gender. Other things that I think, if orgasm is your goal, or even if just creating more pleasure for your partner is your goal, things I think are really useful to remember about blowjobs is, I like to personally think of blowjobs as a hand job with a mouth added. So you have these two amazing devices to create sensation, to create pleasure. Don't forget them. Only once in a while do you need to kind of throw your hands off and be like, look, no hands. Use your hands to create pressure and sensation and additional stimulation for your partner, and for those of you who are into pleasing and filleting folks who have penises, an actual penis they were born with, not one that they're strapping on. Using your hands is also an added advantage because people with penises tend to masturbate with their hands. So you have a better chance of creating stimulation and sensation that might match theirs. You may want to ask them to demonstrate how they masturbate if they're comfortable enough to show you, and then kind of just take notes and figure out look at what they're doing. It's never going to be exactly the same. Your hands on somebody's penis is always going to feel different than their hands on their own penis, but you can see how they like to stimulate themselves. Is there more stimulation on the head of the cock, or is it all about the shaft? Is it about the shaft and the scrotum? All these things you can kind of take note of so that you, while you're filleting, can also be creating more sensation with your hands as well. And again, don't make it about the orgasm, make it about the pleasure, make it about the fun, which helps people get more into their body and into their parasympathetic nervous system, so that orgasm is more possible. Also, for me as a dude who has a penis, sometimes there's a lot of performance anxiety. I get worried that you're down there too long, and then I'm I have to come, and that makes it even harder for me to achieve orgasm, because now I have this weird pressure I'm putting on myself. So at the same time, you can tell the people that you're playing with, hey, if we have an orgasm, awesome. If we don't, I'm still having fun, and I hope you are too. So those are different things that you can do to kind of position yourself in a way where orgasm is more achievable. And I'll leave you with these last 3 tips around hands, and also using your mouth. I like to think of, when I teach blowjob workshops, there's 3 basic ways to kind of create sensation on a penis. One is you're using your hands or your tongue or your cheek to create sensation on the shaft, right? You're stroking the shaft, you're licking the shaft, you're doing whatever, you're staring at it, eye gazing, whatever that is, right? Not eye gazing. You're just creating sensation on the skin itself, okay, or on the scrotum itself. Then there's more of a hand job technique, or your blow job technique, where you're trying to move the skin up and down the erection. And that creates another kind of sensation, where you're moving the skin up and down the shaft. And then that third kind of sensation, a little harder to do with your mouth, but you can combine it with your hands and your mouth, is you're going to grab the shaft, if it's erect, hard enough or firm enough to be able to move the shaft itself. You're going to kind of almost like you're kind of stirring a thick goulash or oatmeal, or some kind of chili if you're from Texas. It's not gonna move a lot, but there's a way to kind of move the shaft, and the erectile tissue goes back into the pelvis, and so you're kind of moving the entire erection. That's a whole other kind of sensation that a lot of people don't think about. The reason it's really useful is that some people with penises really get off on this kind of pressure, weight on them, this firm grip, and this kind of slow stir or the slow jerk move. That, if somebody likes that, combined with you licking their head or moving your lips and tongue over the head of their cock and their shaft, creating that sensation on the skin, or maybe you've got your hand on the base, you're doing the slow jerk while you take your ring and thumb and you're moving the skin, and then you're licking the head. You can create all 3 of those sensations kind of at the same time. That's my best advice, is play with those different kinds of sensation and check in with your partner to see which they like. If they're not really verbal, if they're humping a lot, that's a good sign, unless they're there's a difference between I'm humping towards you and I'm pushing away from you. If they're humping towards you, that's usually a good thing. So those are the main things. Again, it's not bad if you don't make your partner come. There's lots of reasons why we can't always get over the edge into ejaculation and orgasm. And I hope some of these tips that we talked about can help you feel like you're more confident and can improve your technique, so that you're more excited and more comfortable. Because the more confident that you feel, often the more competence you start to create for yourself, and then the more competence you have, that you feel that you have, the more confidence you start to feel, and that competence loop can be really useful, just so that you're walking around in the world feeling yeah, I'm a good person. I know things about the world and about penises. I hope this was useful for you. Again, this is Reid Mihalko from readaboutsex.com for whattheyarasking.com. Please submit your questions and leave your comments, and thank you so much for being a part of this project. Bye!